Hi, welcome to my office. This is my hide at a winter feeding station. It's a wooden hide, a permanent hide. It's made out of ordinary 1/4-inch plywood on a timber frame. The great advantage of a wooden hide is from a weatherproofing point of view. When it's snowing or raining or there's a gale blowing, you're a lot more comfortable in a wooden hide than you are a canvas one, which tends to blow about in the wind. And in these days of digital photography, we can photograph in all sorts of weather conditions, and it's nice to be here in a snowstorm with a blizzard coming down. It's great conditions for photography, and in here I'm very comfortable. I try and think about the comfort all the time. Instead of sitting on a little camping stool, I'm sitting on proper office chairs. These came off eBay, cost about £5 each. There's 2 of them. It's a 2-man hide, and there's plenty of space. There's room for 2 big tripods at the front here and the camera bags in the corner. The most interesting feature is the front window. It runs the full width of the hide, and it's a one-way mirror system, but not glass. One-way mirror glass will be very expensive. This is Perspex. Off eBay I bought some A3 sheets of Perspex and some one-way mirror film, also on eBay, and that comes on a roll and you cut it to shape, put it onto your Perspex. Each sheet slides up and down in a groove, so you can't photograph through it. The quality is not good enough, but you just leave a gap where you want to photograph, and you put your lens through there and a bit of scrimming over it and take your pictures that way. But at least you can see to the left and right of you what's going on. Instead of looking out through tiny little peepholes, you've got a really good view of the action. From the outside it looks like a mirror. The birds can't see in, but you've got a tremendous view out. And then this is where I'm photographing, and just a piece of scrimming here to poke the lens out of. But at least you can see what's going on all around you. The other great advantage of a wooden hide is the birds become accustomed to it. All the members of the tit family and the finches, they'll accept a canvas hide on the day. They're very confident birds. But some species like jays and great spotted woodpeckers that come into feeders, they can be very nervous of a hide. But with the hide here that's permanent, they get used to it. You have all the typical feeders you might have in a garden. Fat ball suet feeders, the Niger seed for the goldfinches and redpolls, and the peanut feeders. There's apples scattered all over the floor and a few apples pinned up into the branches as well. The only way in which this site is not perfect is it's about 10 miles from where I live, so that's a 20-mile round trip to come and feed it. And although I do spend a lot of time on this estate, I certainly don't want to come every day to feed it up. So I tend to go for large feeders like this. This is a homemade box. It's got a grid on the front and the back, so the small birds can get through there, the finches and the blue tits, etc. But the larger birds that would gollop up too much of the food, the wood pigeons and the pheasants, can't get in. You take the lid off, you fill that up with sunflower seeds and general bird seed, and it filters through down into the bottom tray, and that will last at least a week when I fill it up. And the same for this, a peanut feeder basket on the bottom of a drain pipe. You fill the drain pipe up from the top with peanuts, and they slowly filter down into the basket, but it keeps them dry. The bulk of them are out of the rain, so they don't start to rot. So that will last a good couple of weeks if you leave it by itself. I've been using this particular site now for 4 winters because it's in an ideal location from a photography point of view. First of all, we're on the southern edge of a woodland. Behind me there's a big oakland woodland, lots of bird life. The sun comes up over here, it's an open aspect behind the hide, so it floods into the site all day long. And there are hedgerows coming down this side over here and great big bramble bushes on this side, so the birds feel they're enclosed and they feel secure. When the sparrowhawk comes dashing in, they've got somewhere to head for shelter. So it's the perfect location. And then where the feeders are, there's about a 20-metre gap to the hedgerow behind. And that puts the background out of focus, nice and soft and diffused. One of the more enjoyable aspects of this sort of photography is collecting the props. You can spend hours or even days wandering around the woodland trying to find the props and perches that you're going to use to get the birds to land on. I'm not going to show you too many of those other than on the computer screen, but this is the sort of thing you're going out and collect. And you could start to drill holes in here now for the woodpecker and nuthatch to land on. You drill some holes in there to fill it up with suet, but I usually find it's better if I just hang the feeders up adjacent to the perches I want the birds to land on, and they will come to these first. The woodpecker won't fly directly to this so often. More likely than not, they'll come to the perches like this and then jump across to the feeders. And when they're hanging on there, they look far more natural than they do when they're actually feeding. This is something I use quite a lot. You can buy these bendy arms as photographic equipment, but they're quite expensive. But off eBay you can buy these lazy holders, which are designed for mobile phones, and they're perfect. They've got a very strong clamp on this end, which you can clamp to anything, and then you can bend the arm into any position you want. And your little perches you want to put into place and line up precisely, you can either put a crocodile clip on to clamp them to there, or wrap some insulating tape around it to hold your perches in place. So I'm now going to show you a few pictures on the computer that I've taken at this site over the years. It's the sort of photography I quite enjoy doing. I like doing setups and creating nice situations for the birds to land in.